Hey everyone, welcome back to Matt's Digital Odyssey. Today we're hopping into the gaming time machine to explore consoles that history nearly forgot. Those underrated, quirky, and sometimes downright weird consoles that didn't quite make the mainstream splash that they deserve. I've said it multiple times, I was a Sega kid. I didn't have a Sega Master System, but I did have a Sega Genesis, and even a 32X. I actually had the Sega Saturn back in 1997. I got my Dreamcast a few months after its launch, but there are so many other consoles that I completely missed back in the day, and only discovering them years later. There's honestly nothing cooler than stumbling upon a hidden gem years after its release. So let's dust off some classics and maybe introduce yourself to a few that you've never heard of. With my personal experience, the Sega Saturn was just an amazing system. Sega's ambitious 32-bit competitor to the PlayStation. Its hardware specs were dual SH2 CPUs running at 28.6 MHz, 2 megs of RAM, a custom VDP graphics processor, and a dedicated audio processor. Although it was notoriously difficult to develop for, which unfortunately meant very few were standout titles, but there were still some standout games. Panzer Dragoon, Panzer Dragoon 2, Panzer Dragoon Saga, Nights into Dreams, and Guardian Heroes, games that still hold up incredibly well today. And I just touched on it as well, the Sega Dreamcast. Came out in 1999, I believe September 9, 1999, because that marketing was good. I got mine December of 1999 for my birthday. The hardware specs were 200 MHz Hitachi SH4 CPU, Power VR2 GPU, 16 megabytes of RAM, and a built-in modem for online gaming. It was honestly way ahead of its time with the online multiplayer capabilities and that really quirky memory card called the VMU. It had its own screen and controls, and you could bring it wherever you wanted and play it on the go. And it had so many standout games. I'm just going to name a couple. Shenmue, Jet Set Radio, and Soul Calibur, still considered one of the greatest fighting games ever made to this day. Now I'm going to get into a couple more other systems that I honestly didn't own myself, like the TurboGrafx 16, or known as the PC Engine in Japan. It was often overlooked, but it was a powerhouse, an 8-bit CPU paired with a 16-bit GPU, which was the Hudson Soft HUC6280 processor, at about 7.16 MHz. Only 8 KB of RAM, but stunning graphics due to its clever design. The unique HU card cartridges, thin credit card sized media that felt futuristic for its time. You could even bring these to the arcade and use them there. Some of the standout games were Bonk's Adventure, Blazing Lasers, and of course Castlevania Rondo of Blood. True hidden gems. Neo Geo also put out a couple really cool systems, but the Neo Geo Pocket Color was one of those. A 16-bit Toshiba TLC S900H CPU at 6.14 MHz. It was capable of 146 colors simultaneously. On a handheld, that's pretty impressive. Famous for its satisfying clicky joystick, incredible battery life, and stylish form factor, there were some really cool standout games. Sonic Pocket Adventure, SNK vs. Capcom, Match of the Millennium, Metal Slug, some of those great Neo Geo titles. A console that many haven't really heard of, the FM Towns Marty in 1993. It was from Japan. It was a 32-bit AMD CPU at 16 megahertz. It was a CD-ROM based system with 2 megs of RAM. It was considered the first true 32-bit console, but it sadly never left Japan. It caught my eye because of that name, but it had some real great standout games like Splatterhouse, Super Street Fighter 2, and Alone in the Dark. And another system that I thought looked really cool at the time that I wanted really badly was the 3DO in 1993. It was a very interesting system. A 32-bit RISC CPU at 12.5 MHz, CD-ROM media, and even expandable memory. But it had a hefty price tag and an unusual licensing system that really hurt its popularity. But it still had some standout games like Road Rash, Gex, and The Need for Speed. Unfortunately, you can experience most of those games just on the PlayStation. The Atari Jaguar came out in 1993. It was advertised as the first 64-bit console. I still remember some of the commercials. A multi-processor setup including Tom and Jerry custom processors running at 26.59 megahertz. It was a difficult system to develop for, though, and it really lacked third-party support. But it had some great standout games. Alien vs. Predator, Tempest 2000, and Rayman. Sticking with Atari for a little bit, the Atari Lynx, a pioneering handheld from Atari. The 16-bit custom CMOS processor at 160 x 102 resolution with a backlit LCD display. It was the first handheld with a color display and ambidextrous design. It had some standout games too, like California Games, Blue Lightning, and Chips Challenge. And then there's the infamous Philips CDI, which actually came out all the way in 1991. Its hardware specs were no slouch though. A 68070 CPU at 15.5 MHz, single-speed CD-ROM drive, and it marketed beyond gaming, especially that marketing of those interesting Nintendo adaptations like Hotel Mario, Link, The Faces of Evil, and Zelda, The Wand of Gamelon, all of which are really rare to find now and honestly not worth it. And then there was the Apple Bandai Pippin, which came out in 1996. This was Apple's venture with Bandai. That's right, that Bandai. Hardware specs weren't half bad. A 66 MHz PowerPC 603 processor and a 4x CD-ROM drive. It was intended as a multimedia system, but it really lacked that software support. It did have a couple standout games though, like Exotic Sushi and Super Marathon. Now I can't really talk about hidden gem consoles without talking about a few hidden gem games that you absolutely need to play. Have a Sega Saturn or thinking of getting a Sega Saturn? Burning Rangers is always one of my recommendations. That game is amazing. And Dragon Force. Dreamcast? You cannot go wrong with Skies of Arcadia, one of the best RPGs. And sure, you can get it on other consoles, but it just feels better on Dreamcast. And of course, the Power Stone series, Power Stone 2 being the standout of those two. With the TurboGrafx 16, you had games like Air Zonk and Devil's Crush. Really, really fun games. With the Neo Geo Pocket Color, I never really played it, but I've heard a lot of good things about Card Fighters Clash. With the FM Towns Marty, I mentioned it already, but Splatterhouse and Viewpoint. With the 3DO, there's a couple games that didn't translate to other consoles, like Star Control 2 and Wing Commander 3. And then the Atari Jaguar, Iron Soldier, Attack of the Mutant Penguins. Those are some great games too. Today, hooking up these consoles without losing quality can be tricky. Luckily, HDMI adapters and specialized cables do exist, preserving that authentic gaming experience on a modern TV without the lag associated with emulation. If you're looking for ease of use though, RetroTink offers plug-and-play solutions that are perfect for beginners. For enthusiasts who crave the ultimate picture quality and customization, the OSSC open source scan converter or the FrameMeister are fantastic options, providing crystal clear output even on 4K displays. It's also worth investing in good quality shielded cables and switchers to maintain signal integrity. Additionally, there's clone consoles with HDMI output, like the analog Mega SG or the Super NT. They can be excellent solutions, albeit expensive, delivering authentic gameplay without original hardware complexities. But for original hardware enthusiasts as well, looking into exploring rare games and playing your backups, flash cartridge solutions like the EverDrive series and disc-based solutions like the Pseudo Saturn Kai for the Sega Saturn can unlock expansive game libraries without needing your original media. While emulation can be convenient, nothing quite matches the nostalgia of original or faithful clone hardware. Additionally, sourcing original cartridges, discs, or HU cards can add that authenticity to your gaming experience. Online marketplaces, local retro shops or swap meets, flea markets, and monthly retro subscription boxes are excellent ways to track down some of those treasures. Exploring these forgotten consoles offers a fascinating glimpse into the diverse and innovative history of gaming. Each system with its unique quirks and standout titles contributed something special to gaming culture in one way or another. They remind us of the creativity and passion that goes into every console generation, even if not all of them became household names. So don't let them fade into obscurity. Revisit some of them, cherish the innovations, and let them inspire your future gaming adventures. Now, I'd love to hear about your experiences too. Have you discovered any hidden gems recently? Or maybe you have your own beloved forgotten console. Share your stories wherever you're hearing this podcast. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for tuning in. Feel free to hit that subscribe or let me know what else you'd like to hear about in future episodes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep dreaming, and I'll see you in the next Odyssey.